it's talking about your brain being like a hand. And so in this part here is the amygdala, and that's the bit that controls your fight flight response. And okay, so if you're feeling anxious and you're going into an anxiety attack, you're in this part of the brain and not in your prefrontal cortex, which would be this part, the fingers of the hand. I had an anxiety attack, so bad I thought I was having a heart attack, and there was no reasoning with me. I was like, I am dying. Your outlook in the future is that everything's going to work out, and I think
we have a magic wand.
you think it's not going to work out. That's the flip, isn't it? But if you just live in acceptance of how things are and trust that whatever is thrown at you, because you always manage to work it out, you've always got through it, that
there's a quote there, your track record for getting through bad days has been 100% so far, so you can do this in fairness.
So I thought I'd give us a little bit of science. I learned this on my mental health training, actually, about they do this brain hand model. Have you heard of it before?
I'm not sure. Explain it.
Right, so it's talking about your brain being like a hand. And so in this part here is the amygdala, and that's the bit that controls your fight flight response. And okay, so if you're feeling anxious and you're going into an anxiety attack, you're in this part of the brain and not in your prefrontal cortex, which would be this part, the fingers of the hand. And so they describe it as like, when you're in this bit isn't working. So you like flip your lid and you can't use your prefrontal cortex. So you can't reason, you can't problem solve. You're just in run away, freeze, or fight. You can't think rationally. You're not got access to all your problem solving and your reasoning to see that this isn't a danger when you're in an anxiety attack. So when we are in a full-blown anxiety attack, what we have to do is ground ourselves so that we are able to have those conversations with ourselves, because sometimes it can come on so quickly. I had an anxiety attack, so bad I thought I was having a heart attack, and there was no reasoning with me. I was like, I am dying, help me. So I needed to calm down, and I actually was fine when I went to the hospital, because I perceived that I would be safe there and they would be able to save me, but when I was in work, I was just like in full blown panic. So I needed to be able to get my prefrontal cortex working again, and I couldn't do that while ever I was in the full panic mode, while I was in my amygdala. So things that we can do,
deep breathing in the moment. That's the biggest one that you can do instantly, is take a few deep breaths, center yourself, get yourself back to yourself is the most important thing to do. And one of the ones that I did when I was in my anxiety attacks back in 2023, when I was really, really spiraling, it was over money, because, I walked away from family and I had no support system. So I was kind of freaking out, like, when I had bills coming in, I was like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to survive? And I would actually just go into a complete spiral. I could feel my heart going and everything. But literally writing down gratitude, saying thank you for the money to pay this bill. Thank you for being safe and supported. Thank you for, that protection. And in that instant, just writing down those things as if the bill was already paid, I came back to myself and I was actually able to recenter. And, it is really a good thing to do. Write down the things that you're grateful for, or write down the things that you love. If you bring love back into the situation in the moment, it can alleviate that fear and that panic.
Yeah, so breathing, getting into your senses so that you're able to talk yourself out of it. But actually, it's also fair to say that if your anxiety is mainly in your head, it's the thoughts churning, output stops input. So if you say something, it distracts from what's going on in here. So you used to do that, didn't you? You had like a mantra, didn't you?
That was another one I used back then as well, was I am safe, I am healthy, I'm protected. Because I have spirals about my health plateauing as well. So I just kept saying I am safe, I am healthy, I'm protected. And that kind of connected to my finances, to my home, to my health. And it was something I just repeated over and over again. And, you know, that would actually bring me back and say that, you know, force myself to believe that I was going to be okay. And you know what? I was grand. Everything worked out. You really did. And I'm the best that I am now that I've ever been, because I was able to get myself out of that and not go down completely.
Yeah, yeah. So saying something positive can help, and having that prepared, because like we said, if you are in your amygdala, you're not got access to your problem solving and thinking, what techniques do I know? So having it ready when this happens, because I know these things happen to me when I'm gonna go into anxiety attack, these are the things I'm going to do. So have it pre-prepared, something easy to remember, so you can just say it over and over and over to break the chain of inside your head, and calm you down. Breathing, like we said, so you could do like box breathing, where it's in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Or what is really calming is, if you're able to do it, is to breathe in, hold for a second, and then breathe out slowly, and then hold for as long as you can. Now, if you're in an anxiety attack, it can be hard to control your breathing, so box breathing might be better. But if you are able to do long out breaths and hold, that is also very good for bringing down your blood pressure and heartbeat and everything. So yeah, long out breaths is good if you can manage it, but I realize if you're in a full-blown anxiety attack, breathing can be problematic. So you can just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 4, and so on. Using your senses, like we said, so go through it. Four colors I can see, 2 things, 3 things that I can hear, 1 thing that I can smell, something that I can taste, something that I can feel, in whatever numbers, it doesn't matter what numbers, just as many as you can. Brings you into the moment, because remember, anxiety is about the unknown future. In the moment, you are safe.
So another one I covered, yeah, the self-soothing, that's not reminds me of this. I randomly started doing this back when I was young. I just rubbing my fingers together. And I actually Googled it afterwards to see, because it came out of nowhere. And I Googled it afterwards, and it actually said it actually relieves anxiety. And I find myself doing it sometimes. Like, I was in the shops the other day, and I just doing it there. You know, when I'm around crowds, I can take on energy. So I just do it every so often, just you know, like my hands will be down by my side, like. But just to do that is actually, for some reason, it distracts me from my thoughts. And
it's the same thing. So stroking yourself on the shoulders or down the arms, starting at the top and down to the elbow, is really, really, or as if you're washing your hands very gently, as if you're washing your hands. That's also very calming. Some people use tapping.
That's really good. Yeah, I've done tapping a few times. It's actually quite good. But I never used it for anxiety. I've just done sessions before. But it actually could be a good idea. Any kind of distraction away from the moment of your thoughts.
Bring you into your body. Bringing you into your body. Because in the now you're safe. It's in the future, in your perceived future, that you're not. So if you can bring yourself to the moment, then your anxiety will reduce.
And that's it. Meditation can be very good as well. We mentioned breathing there, but
that is pure, in my opinion.
Well, it's a miracle for anything. And like, I've done meditations. I've spoken about the reprogramming ones before, for anxiety and for past trauma. And the ones that you play in your sleep can actually alleviate, you know, long-term anxiety. But like, in the moment, if you can actually just sit in a meditation, it can help you to, and even if your thoughts are kind of going all over the place, even just having that music on, that meditation music on, can help you slowly get down to a more calmer state.
Yeah, and actually you can get ones that are for when you're in an anxiety attack. So you can get binaural beat ones that are guided. So binaural beats are amazing because they sort of trick your brain into being in a brain state that is meditative state. Or you can get different ones, actually, different brain waves, but you can get ones that make you super calm, as if you're meditating. And you don't need years of practice. It does it for you by playing 2 different sounds into your ears, and as when your brain interprets it, it merges it into an oscillating sound, which creates a brainwave. It does take about 5 to 10 minutes to fully work, but you know, even a minute of it is better than nothing. But it does need to be through headphones. However, if you suffer from epilepsy, you should contact your health care professional and just check that it's okay with your type of epilepsy. There is a warning with that. I saw that today when I was looking. But binaural beats is what cured my anxiety. So I was leaving the best to last. Binaural beat meditations is definitely what cured my anxiety, and I use it every day.
Yeah, I play meditations. Like I do meditation every morning, but I play a playlist of meditations in the nighttime. Some are binaural beats, some of them will help me get to sleep. And I'll interchange them. If I'm going through different, you know, energy changes, or there's different chakras that need to be aligned or whatever, I do a different one every so often. Do a couple of nights in a row, and then I'll change up again. But every night I try to do, you know, a playlist of meditations. It really is beneficial.
Then there's so many on YouTube. I mean, the people who developed binaural beats, or certainly did a lot on binaural beat meditations, is the Monroe Institute. Yes. And so you can actually get the Monroe Institute app, which is what I've got. And they've got so many different ones. What's great about that is if you like guided, there's guided ones. If you don't, there's ones that are not. You can create your own where it's just background noise with the sound. You can have, if it's forgiveness you want to work on, there's one about forgiveness. If it's anxiety, if it's sleep, if you want to have lucid dreaming, if you like absolutely anything, if you want to improve your diet, if you want,
there's some sort of health as well, you know, it's different parts of your body, physical health as well. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. Like, you know, there's times I've had severe headaches, or, you know, I don't get headaches anymore, but when I was still suffering from headaches, put on a meditation for your crown chakra. And that would help. That would be better than any. I don't take painkillers anyway, but like, you know, it would be better than any kind of any painkiller. But like, even for tummy issues, you've got your solar plexus, your sacral, all kinds of different, you know, different ones for different ailments in a sense. And they are really good. They really are. Yeah. We can heal our bodies through meditation and mind.
Absolutely. And if anxiety is an issue for you, I cannot recommend binaural beat meditations enough. So I was a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, it was in 2003, I was rushed to hospital from my work because I had an anxiety attack that mimicked a heart attack. It was that bad. And I was fine, but I was still waiting for tests, so I didn't know my heart was fine. And this is the thing, I perceived there was something wrong with my heart. That's what happened. And I essentially manifested myself a fake heart attack. And this is the thing. So some people can have anxiety around health problems. You know, they think they've got something. This is exactly what I did. So I looked up the symptoms, and then I started experiencing the symptoms, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like my social anxiety, because of how I felt and how I shied away from it, because I wasn't welcoming, because I didn't say hello, because I wouldn't give them eye contact. I wasn't somebody that was approachable. And I didn't realize in my anxiety, it's only both of us found out later when people have spoken to us. Later they were like, oh, I just didn't think you wanted me to talk to you.
Somebody told me they were afraid to talk to me, because I always had like my head down and I rest in bitch face. But that was just because I was like, you know, afraid, the same as you, just afraid to look up, afraid to say hello. And I was even afraid to instigate a conversation with anyone. Now I talk to anyone, you know, I talk to people in the shop and everything. But like, you know, like what I know is, as well, it's weird, like fear is a choice, but the power of the law of attraction is very real as well. So the more you fear something, the more you will potentially manifest it in your life. So that's why it's so important to get control of your anxiety, get control of your fears, because if you change your mindset, you can actually manifest in the opposite of what you're fearing, which is good health, and even which is good relationships.
From a scientific view, if your thoughts and your perceived dangers that are probably not even real, whatever that might be, is causing you to go into fight flight, then your body is being filled with cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol is toxic to the body. It does real damage. It reduces your immunity, so you're more likely to get sick. It's like when people are like, you know, there's flu going around, or people are ill around them, and they're like, oh no, I'm going to get it.
Jesus, it's catching season. Oh, Jesus, everyone's got it. I told you this already. Remember the two people in the shop, the customer and the shopkeeper. Oh, Jesus, I have this terrible flu and I can't shake it. I'm after taking everything. Yeah, well, if you use different words, you might be able to shake it. Like, it's not catching season. I'm a healthy person with a high immunity, and I very easily get rid of colds. Or you wouldn't even get one in the first place if you change your mindset. If you're going around saying, Jesus, it's catching, isn't it? You're going to literally go, here, give me the flu. No, change your mindset, people. Seriously, say you're healthy and you will be healthy. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It really is. And like, that's the thing. Like, you know, the simple thing of saying I had a run of bad luck. The reason you had a run of bad luck is because you had one thing that went wrong, and then you spiraled and thought that the whole world was going to end, so everything started to go wrong. Whereas if you start to think happy thoughts all the time, you can manifest in those things instead. And it is really that simple. Replace every negative thought with 3 positive ones. You know, if you're going into a spiral, start to think of the things that you love. Think of the things that make you happy. You know, stop thinking of the things that we're creatures of thinking about what we don't want, thinking about what we're going to fear, thinking about the worst case scenario. Yeah, I used to live by Murphy's Law. It can go wrong, will go wrong. And guess what? It always went wrong. Yeah. Now I live by, if there's a solution to every problem, and guess what? There's a solution to every problem. It's that simple. Change the mind and you change your life.
So, and we're not saying, we've both, you know, this is not from a place of judgment. We've both,
no, I've been there. I really have
for so long, you know, and it's like, oh, we've found the cheat code. We found the cheat code, and we want to tell everybody. And you know, and I thought, right, I'm just going to tell everybody. But it turns out people don't really want to think meditation is the solution. So I trained to be a mindset coach, so I had a few more tools in my bag. But what we need to remember, we're not saying that it's easy. Obviously, your body's response is going to be that, like, it's a terrible thing that's going to happen. But what we must remember is the power is always in the now. The power is in the now, okay? It's not in the future. We don't know what's going to be in the future. And the more you try and guess what's going to happen in the future, particularly if you're anxious, the worse it's going to get. So if you're thinking about the future, you need to bring yourself to the now. So that's why grounding techniques are really good, to bring you into the now, bring yourself into your senses, be grateful for the things that you've got now. And actually, anxiety, or a little bit of fear, I wouldn't call it fear. We could call it excitement, couldn't we? Because it's a very similar feeling. It's what you label it.
And that's it. You know, we question, like sometimes when we stop ourselves doing something because we're anxious. But who's to say you're not actually excited? You know what I mean? If you're excited and anxious, or excited and scared at the same time, it means you should do it. And that's the thing. Maybe you're not actually anxious on the thing. You're just a little bit like, ooh, what's this new thing?
I don't know what's going to... Yeah, it's like, it's changing it. So instead of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, it's, ooh,
yeah, I guess
what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know? It's the same thing, isn't it?
Really,
you know,
it is. And that's the thing with any kind of new venture or anything, you know, anything, unknown or new. Think of it like that. It's like, ooh, this is exciting. Ooh, this is new. I know it's unknown, but like the fact that it's unknown means that the past can't repeat itself. You know what I mean? We can't actually repeat a past thing on something new, because the new thing has never happened before. You know, we have experiences with bad things, but we cannot actually repeat a past cycle in an unknown territory, because we're doing things from a healthier mindset.
Yeah, it's like you said, that whatever trauma we've been through, we've got through it, so we're stronger now. So even if we were presented with the same problem, we would behave and make choices and do things differently if we were healed, at least.
Exactly. That's the power of what we've been through. And we can, what I said in the video, it was like, we know how not to do a thing, so let's do the opposite. You know what I mean? We have the tools now to do the opposite of what we did before, so we actually have the capabilities and the tools to do the thing right now.
Yeah. So Mary Eustace said, yes, it's hard to hear. Joe Dispenza is creating history with his evolution in neuroscience, neuroplasticity, and how people can heal themselves with meditation. It's so true. That's what we did.
That's it. And it really is, it all, like meditation is the miracle cure. It really is. I was on, I had anxiety and depression since I was a teenager. I was on medication from the age of 19 to 27 or 28. And I went to group therapy, I went to counselors, all that kind of stuff. I did all that work. But after I discovered meditation, I haven't had to take any medication. I haven't had to go to any therapy. I therapize myself. You know what I mean? And I don't have that anxiety and depression anymore. And I'm able to get myself out of anxiety attacks. Well, I don't get anxiety attacks now, thankfully. But you see, that's the thing. I spiraled. I healed myself. But then when I walked away from family and friends between 21 and 23, I relapsed and I had a fear-based entity attached to me. And that's when I used to go into anxiety attacks. But I got myself out of that again by using the law of attraction and by using my mindset. And ever since now, I'm living the law of attraction abundance mindset, because I'm not afraid anymore, because I know I've been to the worst and I've been through that, and it's easy to get ourselves out.
That your outlook in the future is that everything's going to work out, and I think
we have a magic wand.
You think it's not going to work out. That's the flip, isn't it? But if you just live in acceptance of how things are and trust that whatever is thrown at you, because you always manage to work it out, you've always got through it,
there's a quote there, your track record for getting through bad days has been 100% so far, so you can do this, in fairness. You really can.
Marius said, well done, Angela, for taking that big step for yourself and stop medication. And I do want to say that I'm not saying if you are given medication from a health professional that you should just stop taking it. And actually, some medications you just can't just stop taking.
Yeah, you have to wean off a lot of it.
However, we should be mindful that these medications interfere with your brain chemistry, and so it's going to make it difficult to process naturally and get control of your life again.
It's true.
It's like sticking a plaster on all the time, it's not
like alcohol or any kind of drug. It's numbing and distracting from your actual mind. Like, it's not actually fixing the problem, it's numbing the feeling.
Yeah.
And what we need to do when we're healing is actually feel it so we can release it, and feel it briefly so we can let it go. Don't feel it and stay there. Feel it to let it go.
That's where anxiety attacks are. But it's acknowledging. We need to acknowledge it. And I think medications rob you of that ability. It robs you of processing it. It robs you of acknowledging what that feels like and being able to connect it where the root is. It might be that you've had an experience in your life where people have treated you badly, for example, and then you have anxiety around certain groups that remind you of that. Like I was saying, I would be particularly anxious around people who were quite like sort of young adults who were particularly attractive and nice clothes and had friends around them. I would find that very, very difficult, So the important thing is to be able to create new positive experiences. Recognize that's not where you are now. That feeling is actually about the past, and you're in the now, and now you are safe. And now if you're able to be a little bit uncomfortable, I'm not saying be Elliot and throw yourself head first down a death slide. Well, if you can,
as I've gotten older and healed, I'm actually less scared of doing the things I was afraid of before. So, that time I went down the fireman hole, I was still in the fear-based energy I was as a child. But ever since doing my healing and overcoming my anxiety, now I'm climbing trees, I'm climbing walls, I'm doing all the scary stuff. I used to be afraid to go and see. I'm not afraid of that anymore. I'm actually, jump into the sea, jump off that slide.
Yeah, if you're able
obviously don't hurt yourself.
But if you don't feel able, if it's too much to push yourself, so long as you are being out of your comfort zone And so long as you are being uncomfortable, but feel safely uncomfortable, you know, that you're reasoning that you are safe. This is not about, you're not in the past. This is about the past, but you're not in the past. You're in the now. You're safe, and pushing yourself just a little bit each day, then you will begin to build up positive experiences that is going to overwrite that.